motivation is a very important factor. What is it that actually motivates you to act on your realization? And my first insight is that adversity can be your biggest motivator. The second thing is, moving in one direction is fine. As you go along, there's lots of things you do to get along, lots of efforts you make to try and get ahead. And then there are things, whether you call it luck, or you call it opportunity, or you call it coincidence, something happens. The key is being able to recognize opportunity. That ability to say, my God, this could be a massive opportunity, is something that needs to be acted on. And to act on it, you need to be able to recognize the opportunities. So that's my second insight. Opportunities don't come with marching brass bands. Thirdly, when you reach a level of success, it's very important to see what else you can do, where else you can move from there. Because resting on your laurels can be dangerous. It can be stagnating. So for you to grow and your vision to grow and your evolution to be complete, beyond success, you have to look at what lies beyond that success and what else you can do. So my third insight is, success is not an end. There are other worlds to conquer. There are stories behind these. Coming back to the first insight, which was adversity can be your biggest motivator. My family was a remarkable family. My parents were Oxford educated, but they were very idealistic people. They fought for the freedom of the country. After independence, they chose spiritual paths. So even though they were intellectually and culturally very rich, economically, I won't say they're poor, but let's say lower middle class economically. And as a result, I got my admission to St. Stephen's College in Delhi, but I had to pay my way there. I had to work. So I worked with All India Radio and Television. And it was really hard. It was tiring. And one day, while coming back from the radio station, I was sitting in this auto, and as it was going along, it hit a real bad khadda. And my head banged violently against the danda on top of the auto. And I was in pain and furious, and I looked up and I saw this plane flying. I said to myself, one day corporations will fly me across the world. That was the anger that crash with the bar in the auto generated. But it also was my motivation. As a result, when I finished college, I came to the city where there were corporations, which is Bombay, Mumbai today, Bombay then. And that, in turn, led to my working with advertising, where I worked for Ogilvy, Mather, and Lintas as their film chief. So corporations did fly me across the world for that period of time, at least all across India.
How are visionaries able to foresee a future that others just can't imagine?
I don't know how it happens for others. I can only tell you what happened in my case.
It's your story.
I mean, you know that I belong to a trucking family. I was born in Amritsar. And Dad was very passionate about his trucking business. But when I schooled in modern school in Delhi, then I went to Hindu college, I knew that I had to join the family business and do something and prove myself. So that was the only little motivation or sort of goal that I had. But I just knew that the trucking company called ATC wasn't for me. So I was privileged and fortunate that Dad had bought a cinema in 1978 called Priya. And I was keen to prove myself. So I just, so that there was no like massive grand vision. It was just like a mini vision, very small vision, that you have lots of people, who like to watch movies. So India makes the highest number of films in the world. And I used to find the cinemas, with due respect to all the cinemas that were there in late 1980s and early 90s, because the video boom was at its peak. They were very gray, very dark, very drab. Nobody was wearing uniforms. The sound and projection wasn't very good, barring one or two here and there. So I thought perhaps, if I improve the sound quality, the projection quality, the customer service, the ambience also make it colorful, vibrant and everything, perhaps people will come back to the cinemas and not get impacted by video. That was the only little mini sort of goal that I had with the single screen cinema Priya. And I was fortunate that the response was just tremendous. People loved the idea of seeing uniformed staff, courteous staff, getting fresh popcorn, fresh cola, and good food, and great sound and ambience. So that really became the motivator then. And then from there on, it encouraged me to do other things. And again, I was fortunate that every little experiment that I did, it turned out to be okay, And I was also very fascinated by people who only focused on one thing and not get carried away by doing too many things. So I just realized that this is all I know. Even if I can do a good job in this, I'll be happy. So that's been my journey.
I moved over to the film world. So I entered the industry. I had one very big hit film called Kache Dhage with Raj Khosla directing, Vinod Khanna with me, signed up a film called Nagin. And then the Italians came to India looking for a character called Sandokan, which was going to be the lead of a television series in Italy. And they had come on a tour of Asia, looking at 10 cities in Asia to find Sandokan. And the first person they met in the first city they came to was me. And they said, will you come to Rome at your own expense to do a screen test? Now, I could have said, what nonsense. I'm an established actor. How dare you say at your own expense? You want to audition me, you fly me. But I said, no, I'll come. No problems. So, because I was able to recognize that this might be a life-changing opportunity. And it was. Because that series I went on to complete became the biggest hit in European television. Its TRPs have not been matched till today. People remember me for that series till today. Every generation in Italy and Europe has seen that series till today. And if I'd stood on pride and ego and said, no, pay for me to come, I'd have lost it. So the important thing is learning to recognize opportunity when you see it.
What drives a visionary? How do they keep themselves motivated in the face of extreme odds?
Well, as Mr. Bedi said, that adversity plays an important role. So 92 was a very, it was a big setback for me. My dad passed away suddenly. I was only 25 years old. Then in 90, I had to go back to the trucking company. And in 94, again, we had a huge fire. We lost all the money. So I was very confused about this mini success that I had got in the cinema business. At the same time, I had to run the trucking company. And then the trucking company, again, I still believe in retrospect because it was a non-core activity for me. It was something I was not passionate about. And that's when, I had seen some multiplexes abroad. I'd gone to Orlando. I used to travel to the US. And I was just very fascinated that 5 to 6 films get released every week in India. And if you only have one house, you're stuck to that one movie. And it may do well, it may not do well. And your whole 1,000 seats multiplied by 5 shows in a day run empty. So there was a way to convert that 1,000, 1,200 seater cinema into a multiplex. But there were no building bylaws. There was nothing there. If I could do that, then maybe people will come. I had my apprehensions that whether they'll come to smaller cinemas, smaller screens. But again, I felt that if you give good sound, good quality, projection system, maybe people will come. So I think that two adversities, my dad sort of passing away, the fire, really propelled me to move forward and then say, okay, this is all I want to do. Opened the first multiplex in 97, again, did very well. Then the mall started happening, opened the first multiplex in a mall in 2001. Then 2003, opened the largest multiplex in India in Bangalore, Forum Mall, which continues to get about 2.5 million people a year. And that's it, then one thing led to another.
When Sandokan became this incredible success, and this is my third point, success is not an end, there are other worlds to conquer. For all my success, Italy could not cast me in any other role. I was the quintessential, iconic Sandokan. So success became a trap. I realized also that having reached this level of success, I couldn't build on it further in Europe. And what else remained? Either go back to India or push forward. So I said, let's go to Hollywood. So I went on to Hollywood. In Hollywood, I certainly was a working actor. I may not have been Hollywood's biggest star, but at the end of the day, to have established a career on 3 continents, starting out of Bollywood, going to Europe, going to America, and that actually was the greatest satisfaction of all.
What happens once the visionary has achieved what he set out to achieve?
I think again, it's external stimuli. You're a listed company. You've got so many people who don't want you to get off the treadmill. That's one thing. And then and it's internal treadmill. I think just naturally, either you are somebody who's happy to rest on his laurels, or you're somebody who wants to get restless. I get restless if I feel that, we're getting complacent. So I really get restless. So we just opened our 15-screen complex, the largest in the country, in Noida. And again, very fortunate, a lot of people came. It's a success. But I was just seeing everybody getting a little restless in the organization. I think it's your nature becomes like that. It's not that I don't enjoy if we meet with success, but I think one is internally, I think all of us in our company has got the DNA now to not rest on our laurels and keep moving forward, look at the next challenge. And externally, we're a listed company. We just can't help it. Every quarter, we have to continue to perform. If you don't perform in one quarter compared to the last quarter, you get hammered. So both things have kept us on our toes.
Partly after listening to Ajay, partly as a result of my own experience, but, the fact that Ajay chose to be in the theatre business rather than the trucking business means that he followed his heart. He did what he instinctively felt he wanted to do. So his passion was fully behind what goals he set himself. And that's the sign, according to me, of a creative mind that thinks beyond what is given. Creative people never retire, because creative people will always find new avenues, new opportunities, new ways of expressing themselves. And if you are creative, the bottom line is you never need to retire.
Absolutely in sync with what Sir said just now. I think his success became a trap is something that he mentioned just now, and he wanted to keep moving forward. So I think I identify with that a lot. I think it's important, as I said, that you need to not rest on your laurels. I'm repeating myself, but and the story only sort of echoes what I believe in as well.